All right, Cat's been out of the bag for a while now that all of the old cast is returning from the Next Generation to Picard season 3. And I'm not spoiling anything by saying this. Worf's appearance in this episode, oh man, that was epic. So, jumping from there, we're going to be reviewing today's episode. I got my show notes ready to go here, and we're going to dive in. But if you're someone who's new here and you've never watched my reviews, I don't do spoiler free. It is full of spoilers, thoughts, reactions, the whole episode laid out in pretty much linear format, although I jump around a little bit. So if you haven't watched the episode and you don't want things spoiled, walk away now. Come back after you've watched it. But if you have seen it and or you don't mind something getting spoiled, get ready to dive in. And by the way, like, subscribe, hit the bell icon if you haven't already done so. Support in all the ways you can, memberships and beyond. We'll talk more at the end. But in the meantime, let's get into my show notes because there's a lot to go in. And I should just say right out of the bat, this was a great episode, action packed, super fun. I really enjoyed it. There was one part that's cliched, which we're going to get into. So this is your last warning. Spoiler alerts. Three, two, one. Show notes. All right, so we get an opening sequence here that shows us a little bit about who this kid is. His name is Jack Crusher. And I immediately was like, is this the guy who played the creepy dude in Outlander who like violated the daughter and he was like a pirate captain or something? Pretty sure this is the same actor, and his role here is completely different and completely awesome. So he is a fast-talking, freewheeling smuggler type who is apparently smuggling medical goods, but also is running guns, and apparently that's his way to bribe off these officials to let him get past quarantine into these areas that he's otherwise not supposed to get into. Whether or not he's doing this for altruistic reasons or not is still unclear, even as we get to the end of the episode and Beverly wakes up and we get some confirmation of a few things, including the fact that she was behind all of this and has been working with him for this whole time, which throws into question everything that Picard thought he knew about Beverly. And there's even a confrontation where this kid is like, how do you even know her? Like, you haven't spoken to her in how many years? 20 years, so on and so forth. So it's really interesting. But this opening sequence is really cool. It's action packed, but it gives us sort of a 2 week before insight into the character of Jack Crusher, and then it jumps into the present, and he tells Picard and Riker, and ever since then we've just been hunted. And first it was these Romulans, and then it was these guys, and then it was these Starfleet guys, and then it was this, and it's just been nonstop. They've been hounding us until they are where we are. So it's a great intro scene. We also get this mention of somebody called the Marked Woman after he bribes the officials in the original opening, right as they are embarking upon what this Crusher kid thinks is he's bribed the officials. He thinks is onto the planet without any issues. This is what sparks the hunt, where the official gets on his comms and he's like, reach out to the marked woman and let her know that we found him. And then we're in the present day. So apparently that's somewhat important, and we do meet her later on in the episode, and she's sinister. So we're going to find out more about her as they go on. Um, they there's a whole lot going on here, but essentially the core of this is we need to get Beverly onto a shuttle off this ship, get her over to the Titan, and save her. And the kid has an absolute disrespect for authority. Riker makes the comment. He's like, "There's something familiar about him, isn't there?" And I was like, "Are they really gonna make this Picard's son?" This is the cliche I was talking about because I kind of feel like it's like the Indiana Jones thing that happened in the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, where it's like we got to give the old man a son to carry on the legacy. By the way, nudge nudge, potential spin-off series about Picard's son, that kind of stuff. Anyway, I did cringe at that just slightly, but it's okay. But meanwhile, we're back at Rafi, and she's talking to her contact about the destruction of the Starfleet recruitment facility, and she's got this news suggesting that it was based on the dissident Lurak Tuluko, who's leader of a Romulan rebel faction. She's like, that's not true. There's no way. Contacts her handler. Like, your plan is failing. And the handler says, well, Starfleet's terminating the investigation because the subject has been identified. And she's like, bullshit. I'm going to go out and find out who it really is. We're back to the shuttle, and there is a really cool moment here where, um, as they are trying to figure out how to get Beverly off, there's some stuff that happens. The shuttle gets destroyed. Picard throws some anti-transporter things up on the wall. And as he's doing that, they try to transport the Crusher Kid off the bridge, the other vessel. And Picard's like, "Aha! They want you alive. That's an important negotiation thing because it means they won't shoot us down. They're gonna have to come board us, or etc." Um, so at least we learned a little bit of information about whoever it is that wants them. They're definitely after the kid. Um, Meanwhile, we find out that as this is all happening, they get a tractor beam lock, and they're going to pull the vessel in with Riker and Picard and the kid on it, and then boom, the Titan jumps in and breaks the tractor beam hold, which, by the way, is the thumbnail that I used for this video because that was a freaking amazing sequence, the VFX sequence that they did. Um, Meanwhile, we're back to Rafi tracking down things. She wants to meet someone called Sneed, who's a Ferengi broker and gangster, and she's apparently met with her ex here, um, who is the father of her estranged child, I guess. And he's like, "You always get like this when you get manic. You start the drugs. You need to let it go. You have to make a choice around Gabe or Sneed. The last time I'm ever going to deal with you." And she, of course, chooses Sneed because she has, the greater good of the galaxy. Um, Meanwhile, they beam everybody off the shuttle, everybody off the smaller vessel onto the Titan, and Shaw doesn't want to run because he wants to know who's attacking, and they end up getting hailed by someone called Captain Vadek, who seems to know all of them. So this is the, what do they call her? The marked woman. And she is giving them some information about all, she just basically is lording over them that she knows who they are, and then lowers her shields to show them all the weapons that she has at her disposal, and then she takes the tractor beam, grabs a hold of the smaller ship, and like throws it at the Titan, which was a pretty freaking epic sequence. Meanwhile, Shaw relieves Seven of duty, and takes Crusher into custody. Turns out he's some con man. Throws him in the brig. Shaw also wants Picard and Riker to face a tribunal, and the whole time that they're debating about this after Shaw leaves, Riker's, it's like the math just adds up. This kid's got to be your son, Picard. Picard doesn't want to believe it, but he does have a chat with the kid in the cell. Kid tells this tale of trying to save a galaxy while dealing with low-life criminals, and that's why he smuggles weapons. That's all at the behest and alongside of his mother. And Picard's like, "That's how I know you're lying, because that's not the Beverly I know." And the kid's like, "How long did you actually talk to her?" Um, Picard drops this question where he's like, "Who's your father?" And the kid's like, "I never knew my father." And Picard looks tortured, and I'm like, they are gonna play this card all the way down. Um, Back to Rafi. She meets this Ferengi guy named Sneed. She claims to work for Toluco, and turns out this guy's not buying it because he's got Toluco's head in a box. But before he shows it to her, he convinces her, "The only way I'm going to believe that you're not Starfleet is if you take these drugs." And she takes them. He reveals the head. She's all effed up on drugs and proceeds to like stab the Ferengi in the hand and get attacked by all these other guys. And then in the blur of her being drugged out, we get this figure who comes in with the backlash and destroys everybody and then cuts the Ferengi's head off. And I'm like, is that fucking Worf? And then they do the reveal, and it's old man, like sexy old man Worf, like all white goatee and white hair and just looking tasty as Worf can only be. And he's like, "I told you to disengage." And so he's obviously been working with her this whole time. So I gotta say that Worf reveal was uh, yeah, that was pretty dope. That's probably the coolest. Next to the Titan jumping in to break the tractor beam, the Worf intro was like the coolest part of the episode. Um, Meanwhile, Crusher escapes the bridge. He wants to turn himself in. Beverly's on the mend. Riker wants to wake her up regardless of the fact that she's still not stable. There's another confrontation with the captain on the bridge. Shaw wants to turn the kid in. Um, and as all this is going down, Seven's got him in the transporter thing, and then Beverly hits the bridge with Riker, and there's this moment where Picard and Beverly are staring at each other, and she gives him this look, and it's just the look of, "I should have told you. I'm so sorry." And Picard realizes, "Oh my God, this is my son," and he like takes over, and he's like, "Belay that order, Admiral's taking over. Shaw, you could screw yourself. That's my son. I'm not going to let him get taken." And then they run off into the nebula, and that's when the episode ends. Now, this could all be a ruse. It could actually not be Picard's son, but I have a feeling they're going to lean hard into that to have like a legacy to wrap up the Picard storyline. Um, but in any case, we've now met. Um, we've got Crusher, we've got Riker, we've got um, and we've got Worf now, uh, back in the fold, right? So we still have to meet a few familiar faces, but we're slowly getting the cast back together. Another great episode. I mean, I might give this one an 8 out of 10 only because the way wayward son that I've never met storyline is a little cliched. But apart from that, I'm loved this episode. It was great. I'm continually finding myself entertained by Picard. So all of you haters out there can just get out of here because I'm enjoying it. So looking forward to the next one. Love to hear your thoughts. Drop them down below. Stay safe, and if you can, if you like what you saw here today, don't forget to support. I mean, you can like, subscribe, hit the bell icon. Those are great ways to follow along. But to support, you can join as a member here on YouTube. You can drop super chats and stickers on premieres. Super thanks on uploads. There's a Patreon page. Keeps me on the air. It keeps me doing this full time so that I can continue to push out 4, 5, 6, sometimes more videos per day and the live streams. So if that means something to you and you want to support me rather than Netflix or, Paramount Plus or whoever you want to support, consider it because it does allow me to keep doing what I do and it shows that you appreciate the content that I produce. Till next time, everybody, stay safe. Happy viewing.